Hello and welcome. This is Islam Ahmad. I will be your lecturer today. Please have a minute to review the risk warning. The risk warning state that trading in Forex CFDs and other derivatives is highly speculative and carries a high level of risk. It's possible to lose all your capital, and these products may not be suitable for everyone. Let's move on. Today we will speak about a very important index, which is the Dow Jones Index. This is widely known, it's American index, but widely known in the stock market world and investment world everywhere. So today we will dive into this index and we will know more about it. And at the end of the webinar, we will start some live trades on it. Let's start from the logical beginning point. How was the Dow Jones created? At any moment, if you have an issue, if you can't hear me or you can't see my screen, just send me on the chat. Now let's move on. The Dow was created by Charles Dow and Edward Jones. The man on the left, this is Charles Dow, and on the right, this is Edward Jones. They are co-founders of the Dow Jones and Company. This is the index that was initially designed to provide a snapshot of the performance of the industrial sector, which played a vital part of the American economy at that time. So the Dow Jones index, now also known as the Dow Jones Industrial Average or DJIA, or simply the Dow, or some call it the US 30. We will move to this later. So it was created using a straightforward methodology that Charles Dow devised himself. Okay. So the index was created initially considering 12 stocks, which were handpicked by Dow and Jones based on their prominence and reputation in their respective industries. So to calculate the index, Dow added up the stock prices of 12 companies and then divided the total by 12. So this simple average was the earliest form of the index. Over time, as the index expanded to 30 stocks, this is until now, it's 30 stocks, the calculation methodology shifted to a more sophisticated divisor-based system to account for stock split changes and other adjustments. So the Dow Jones is the same as the US 30. So whenever you hear the term US 30, this is the Dow Jones. They are used interchangeably to refer to the same index. It's a popular short name, the US 30 for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Also, if you see the DJIA, this is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So this is all the same name, which is the index price weighted for 30 American stocks. Now, if you can see my screen right now, please send me in the chat if you can see it. Okay, looks like everything is working fine. So now you see today's Dow Jones 30 companies. This is the 30 companies, American companies, that combined represent the Dow Jones price. So you can see here everything you can imagine, like Apple here, Nike, JP Morgan, Johnson & Johnson, Intel, Visa. I will not name all the names, you can see it in your screen, but this gives you an indication of how strong is this index. It's combining the 30 most well-known and established American companies. So the Dow Jones is price-weighted index, which means that the components are weighted based on their stock price rather than their market capitalization. So this is different from other indices such as the S&P 500. This is something else. Today we are talking only on the Dow Jones, okay? So the S&P 500 is using market capitalization weighting. So in the Dow Jones, stock with a higher price have a greater impact on the index movement. Okay, therefore a higher priced stock will have a larger weight in the index compared to a lower priced stock. You need to be very aware of all this information, so when we now go to the trading, you can understand how it works, how the Dow Jones is working, and how it's going up and down. So now you know it has 30 companies and it's price weighted, meaning the stock with a higher price will have much more impact than a lower price stock, regardless of the market value of the company. This is resulted from the aim to reflect the performance of these influential companies in the index movement. So if the price of the current stock and the overall price of the index is known, then it's straightforward to figure the individual weighting of a stock within Dow Jones. So the exact methodology of calculating the Dow Jones involved dividing the sum of the stock prices of the 30 components of divisor that is adjusted periodically to account for stock split, dividends, and other corporate actions. Okay, it's not only the price of the stock, there is another corporate action. So this calculation ensures that changes in the price of any individual component do not impact the index. So the calculation of the Dow Jones or the US 30 involves straightforward method known as the price weight index calculation. I'll just give you a simple explanation of how the price is calculated. Let's say that we are gathering the stock price of all the companies in the example. To make it simple, we will make only 3 companies, okay? So company 1 share price is $50. Company B share price is $100, and company C share price is $75. Now, when we add up the stock prices of all the companies, it will be $225. So then we divide the sum by a divisor or to adjust it for the various factors such as the splits, the dividends, and other changes in the companies. So let's assume that this divisor is 0.146. So in our example, the result of 225 divided by the 0.146 will be 1547. So we will round the number to the most recent number. It will be 1548. This is trying to simplify how it's calculated. Of course, it's more complicated than this, but this is trying to simplify it. Now, if you can see my screen, this is the actual price weight index. So United Health Group share, this is the most dominant share in the US 30. Why? Because the price of one share is 583, which is equal to 9% of the Dow Jones. Intel Corp is the number 30 because the share price is only $22.5. This is equal to 0.3% of the share. Apple share trading around 225 represent almost 3.6% of the Dow Jones. Microsoft share price is around 419 per share, so this is equal to 6.6% of the index. Now I think you can understand how the Dow Jones is calculated and how each share price will affect the overall performance of the index. So the Dow Jones operate during regular market hours in the United States, which are typically Monday through Friday, excluding holidays, from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The Eastern Time, this will be equal to 5:30 p.m. to 12 a.m. Dubai time. So this time frame is known as the market session, and it's when the investors can actively trade stocks, including the Dow Jones. But you can, of course, trade the CFDs here in Godo. We offer the Dow Jones CFD, so you can trade it 24 hours, 5 days of the week, because of the futures of the Dow Jones is actually 24 hours tradable, and this is available in the Godo CM trading applications. So the Dow Jones is influenced by a wide range of both external and internal factors that can impact the movement both directly and indirectly. So let's quickly see the key factor that we consider moving the Dow Jones. Start with the external factors, which is something outside from the shares and from the index itself. We have the most important external factor, which is the economic indicators, the economic data such as the GDP growth, the employment reports, inflation figures. Of course, in the US will be having the much more impact. The consumer sentiment. This can affect the Dow Jones in a positive way if they are positive economic indicators, and in a negative way if there is some potential market movement in the other direction. So this is the first external indicator or factor affecting the Dow Jones. Also, the geopolitical events, so political developments, international conflict, trade dispute, just like what happened between the US and China. This all have a very great impact on the Dow Jones. The market sentiment can do influenced by changes in global relationship or policies, or even that may disturb the economic stability. So also there is another external factor, which is the interest rate and monetary policy. Decisions made by central banks, especially the Federal Reserve in the United States, this is affecting, of course, the Dow Jones. Lower interest rate typically simulate the economic growth and can support stock market performance, which will affect the Dow Jones. Now, we have some internal factors, okay, which is from the shares that combining will make the Dow Jones. We have the, first of all, the earning reports. So the financial performance of companies included in the Dow Jones, as reflected in their quarterly or annual earning reports, can influence the weighting and the makeup of all the index. So positive earning surprise or disappointment may lead to some very strong movement in the Dow Jones. Corporate actions, if there is merge, acquisition, stock split, dividend announcement, and other corporate action, of course, this will affect the Dow Jones in a very great way. The investor sentiment. This means the market psychology and investor sentiment play a role in the Dow Jones movement, because factors like fear, optimism, and market speculation can lead to buying or selling pressure, and of course the supply and demand will rule and then will make the Dow Jones go up or down according to the sentiment. To be eligible to be included in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, a company must meet a certain criteria. So how a company will be added in the US 30, now we will see. First of all, the industry leadership. This means the Dow Jones aim to include companies that are leaders in their respective industries. These are often well-established and widely recognized companies with significant presence in the US economy. It has to be a US company. So second is reputation. The company should have a solid reputation and considered a key player in its industry. Companies with a strong track record of performance and stability are preferred for inclusion. Of course, you will see this in all the shares I just mentioned in the 30 companies. Size and market capitalization. The Dow Jones typically select the companies with substantial market capitalization. While there is no specific minimum, requirement, but the companies chosen are generally among the largest and most influential in the US stock market. Number 4, financial performance. A company's financial performance is an important factor. It should have a history of consistent earning and revenue growth, strong financial indices, the company's stability and ability to generate sustainable return. Okay, number 5, the sector representation. The Dow Jones aim to include companies from different sectors to provide diverse representation of the US economy. So the index seeks to reflect the overall performance of various industries, although not including transport or utilities. So it's important to note that selection process for the Dow Jones is subjective and determined by the index committee in the Dow Jones and Company. So the committee reviews potential candidates and evaluate their eligibility based on the criteria we just mentioned. So changes in the composition of the Dow Jones occur periodically, so to ensure it remains representative of the evolving US economy, meaning it can change. It's not 30 and will never change. Actually, it can change, because the Dow Jones Industrial Average is not readjustable or checked on fixed schedule like some indices, such as the UK FTSE 100. But the index committee responsible for the Dow Jones periodically reviews the composition and eligibility of the 30 component companies based on the mentioned criteria we just said. So if a component company no longer meets the eligibility criteria, or if there is a better candidate for inclusion, the committee may decide to make changes to the index. There is no set frequency to these reviews. However, occasional adjustments do occur to ensure the index accurately represent the evolving US economy and meets the need of the investors. At any moment, if you can't see my screen or you can't hear my voice or you have any issue, please send me on the chat. Looks like everything is working fine. So let's move on. Here are 5 most important reasons to why the Dow Jones is important for investors to understand and to monitor. First of all, it gives you investor sentiment. Movement in the Dow Jones can reflect shifts in investors' sentiment. Rising or falling trends may signal optimism or pessimism in the market, influencing investor behavior and shaping trading decisions. Simply, when you see the Dow Jones high, this means the market is now more in the optimism. If it's going down, then it's like a dark cloud in the market. Let's move on. The second important thing is it gives you benchmark for a portfolio performance. So many investors use the Dow Jones as a benchmark to evaluate the performance of their own investment portfolio. So by comparing the return to the index performance, investor can measure how well their investment are performing relative to the broader market. So if your annual mark or annual revenue is around 9%, while the Dow Jones is like performing 5%, this is a very good result because you are beating the Dow Jones revenue annually. And of course, vice versa. So third is basis for investment strategies. The Dow Jones, being one of the most recognized and widely followed indices, often influence investment strategies. Investor and fund managers may use the index as reference point to guide their allocation decision and adjust their portfolio. So the dividend income, this is the fourth important thing. The Dow Jones itself does not directly provide dividend income. So of course you are not buying a real share when you are buying Dow Jones, okay? But it represents the price performance of its component companies. So many companies included in the Dow Jones Industrial Average are known for paying dividends to their shareholders. So this means that investors who own individual stocks of the companies within the Dow Jones can potentially receive dividend income. Investors seeking dividend income would need to focus on the specific stocks within the Dow Jones that have a history of paying dividends and have attracted a dividend yield perspective, And not all companies, of course, of the Dow Jones give this dividends, but if you research, you can find this. So investment opportunities, of course, the Dow Jones represent multiple of investment opportunities. That's why we're all here today, because we are looking for these opportunities. So you can stock pick from established gain to promising up and comers within the index, or decide to invest in a small part of the whole index itself. You can go buy the shares by yourself, not the index. This variety allows investors to tailor their portfolio according to the risk tolerance, time horizon, and investment goal, and of course the sector preference. So while the Dow Jones can reflect investor sentiment and of course the market trend, let's be honest, it has close to no direct impact on the economy. Okay, so here is why. First of all, it has some indirect influence. Movement in the Dow Jones can indirectly influence the economy through their impact on investor confidence and consumer sentiment. When the Dow Jones is rising, it may foster positive sentiment and encourage spending and investment. And of course, declining Dow Jones may lead to caution and reduced economic activity, but this is very indirect influence of the Dow Jones on the economy. Okay, the second and very important is it has a very limited sample size. The Dow Jones actually represent only like 30 companies, a very small fraction of the thousands of companies that make up the broader economy. So the performance of the 30 companies simply cannot fully capture the complexity of the entire economic landscape. So it's very, very limited sample size. Of course, the comprehensive economic factors. The economy is influenced by numbers of factors, such as government policies, interest rates, international trade, productivity, global economic conditions, while the Dow Jones provide just insights into the stock market. So it's not it's just a small piece of the larger economic puzzle. So different sectors and industries contribute to the overall economy in varying degrees. The Dow Jones, with its concentrated focus on specific industries, may not reflect also the performance of other sectors that are equally vital to economic growth. So in summary, we are not saying that the Dow Jones is, we said how important it is, okay? We are now trying to find the balance, okay? It's very important, but has not very important on the economy, but it's very important for me as an investor because it's giving me some investment opportunities. So in summary, while the Dow Jones can indirectly influence the economy through investor sentiment, it should be considered as only one of several indicators when assessing the overall health and direction of the economy. Okay. Let's have some of your questions and go to the live market. Let's go to the live market. Okay, this is the Dow Jones. As you can see here, I already have on open trade, buy trade with the Dow Jones. This is because of we had some important data today from the US, and I had drawn, as you can see, a resistance level. This is technical, okay? And also there is a support level you can see here in the 4 hours chart. So when trading the Dow Jones, you can, as any other instrument or any other metal, you can either use a technical approach or fundamental approach, or you can try to combine both. This is what I'm trying to do today. Today I have this fundamental information that there is some maybe good or positive US news. That's why the direction I'm trying to get in is to buy. Okay, and then I have this technical approach with the support and resistance level. Of course, this is in a 4 hours chart, so it's a very big wide range between the support and the resistance. You can get it, some traders like to scalp the Dow Jones, like very fast trades, let's try this one. Okay, let me close this one and open the 1 minute chart. So let's have the same impact. We will buy because of what I just said. I have some positive news from the US, and technically I have a support level here. Now the price of the US 30 is around 42,037 or 39. This is the price I bought from. I have one lot, and then I can have my support level here around 41,884, and I can get my profit taken at this level around 42,300 or 130, sorry. So this is the very short term. Okay, this trade also can be left for a long term, because as I showed you in a 4 hours chart, this is a buying opportunity for the Dow Jones. This is the approach you can take when trading the Dow Jones. Okay, now we are during the active session of the US stocks market. So any news or any very strong move in the shares will impact the Dow Jones, but it will be very hard to follow the 30 companies daily. So maybe the better fundamental, or not the better, the fast way fundamentally to follow this with the Dow Jones is to follow the general US economy trend. So when you see the trend in the US economy is going in a positive way, especially if you have news. Today we have some news, and also tomorrow is a very important day because we will have the NFP announcement. So this will have also an impact on the Dow Jones and of course in the dollar index and the market generally. So this is as you do with any other instrument, but now you have the knowledge. We now know better about the Dow Jones. We now know that this is actually shares. So maybe this sometimes will be faster than the news. Maybe this will be ahead of the news. So the Dow Jones now, I'm predicting that it will go up because I follow the economy, the US economy. I follow the news, and I feel that it's going positive for the dollar. So now, even before the news, I'm trying to buy the Dow Jones. But of course, because there is shares moving in the day, the Dow Jones actually, as you can see in the 1 minute chart, can move in the both directions. See, very strong move up and very strong move down, because these shares are being sold for other reasons than the negative or positive US news. Actually, imagine yourself having like a share in Apple or in Nike or McDonald's, any one of the 30 companies you just saw, and then you just have financial needs, so you go and sell your share. This actually will affect the share and will affect the Dow Jones. What I'm trying to say is it's a very wide information to collect to understand really how the Dow Jones is going to move. So fundamentally, it will be very hard, but you have to get the general direction, and then technically you can see the trend, the support and resistance level, the things we talk about in our webinars, and then you make your decision. And even after all this, you have to know that all this fundamental and technical knowledge is not exact science. It's trying to get better chance in predicting what's not 100%, what's not actual facts. Okay, so keep in mind this always when you trade the Dow Jones or any other trading instrument or share or currency, that this is only probability you are trying to get. Okay, so there is a question about the much active time, of course, of the Dow Jones will be during the US session that we just said. It will be in Dubai time from 5:30 to 12 a.m. From 5:30 p.m. until the midnight. This is the active time. Some traders actually like to start trading with the opening session of the American session, which is 5:30 Dubai time, and they put their trade only during this time. Of course, it's 24 hours, 5 days trading the US 30, I mean, because of the futures. It's not only the Dow Jones itself, it's the future Dow Jones as well. So you can trade it at any time. But if you are asking me about the most liquid and the most actions in the market, it will be during the US session from 5:30 to 12 a.m. One more question. Okay, to recommend trading the Dow Jones for someone, he has to have much experience. Okay, it's not simple. Okay, it's not easy. It needs knowledge. Today I tried to explain everything. So if you have this session, now you have the knowledge, and of course apply the risk management techniques. Start with the smallest amount. Okay, if now this is my first time to trade the Dow Jones, I wouldn't trade one lot. I would trade the minimum, the micro lot. Okay, this is my advice to you. Start small. If you are new to the Dow Jones, start small with a very even start with a demo account if you want to get used to the way how it's calculated, how is the points, and how is everything, and step by step, by time you will be used to it and you will know your way. And as I just mentioned, even if you are very experienced, you always have to apply the risk management techniques. Okay, as I told you, now our trade is like profit in around $300 and 40. This is enough for me, alhamdulillah, good. So this was a very fast trade in the Dow Jones. It was, as I told you,